Hello, hello. Good evening. Can all of you hear me? Okay, great, great. Good evening to all of you, and welcome to IMTS. And thank you for attending today's class. Uh, right. Yes, Rezi. Uh, uh, I had one class yesterday as well, but I think you missed yesterday's class. Right. So, anyways, thank you, Fahad. Thank you very much. Uh, right. Hope all of you are doing great and have a great day today. Okay. First of all, tell me, is my voice coming clear to all of you? I hope there is no background noise. Yes, I was busy with some work, Renan. That's why I was not able to. Not vacations. Vacations are not so long for working people. Vacations are only for a week or 10 days. Anyways, right. And whoever has missed my yesterday's class, you can go through the recorded class recordings. Right. So let's start from where we stopped yesterday. To all those who were coordinator mentioned on email that this class is, yes, it is for actually accounting and finance. But the topic that we were discussing yesterday was not complete. Right. So what we will do is we will first try to finish this topic and then we will move to accounting and finance. If we get the time in today's class, we will try to start with that topic, or we will definitely do that topic tomorrow. Fine, Fahad? Okay. So the topic that we were discussing yesterday is decision making. Right. We have covered some part of it. We have covered the basics. We have covered the nature of decision making. Right. Today we will be discussing about the various types of models of decision making. Right. Uh, Kunal, can you hear me? I think you don't know me since you are having a first class with me. This okay. So to all those who are attending this as my first class, my name is Vashisth. I'm from India, right? And I'm engaged with IMTS from past 8 to 9 months, right? I was not taking the classes. Hello, no sounds. Can all of you hear me? Can all of you hear me clearly? Okay. Okay, okay. Fine, fine. So, I'm with IMTS from past 8 to 9 months, and the experience has been good. I have done my masters in business administration from IIM Lucknow. Right. So that is all right. Most of you know me. Some of you, like Kunal, is interacting with me for the first time. Sarita, I think, is also interacting with me for the first time. Right. So, right. So whoever, whatever doubts if anyone has, you can all you are you can always You can always get in touch with me, right? You can post a query to the coordinator and they can forward their query to me, or during the class you can post your query in the chat box as well if you have any questions. Renin, do you have any questions? You have raised the hand. Do you have any questions for me? You can always raise your hand. There's a tool in this IQ, right? If you have any questions, and then I will try to answer your questions. Anyway, so let's start with the class. So the topic that we were discussing yesterday is decision making, right? I will quickly show you the definition, but I will not be going to cover the all the topics that we have covered yesterday, right? So quickly, what is decision making? Kunal, Sarita, what is decision making according to you? Renian, what is decision making? What do you think? It is the art, it is the need, what it is? Decision making is the act of choosing one alternative from among a set of alternatives, right? Suppose we came across so many situations in our day-to-day life where we have to where we have to take certain decisions if we have the authority. Right now, there might be multiple solutions or multiple ways to deal with that problem, right? But a good manager is one, or a good decision maker is one who chooses the best alternative, keeping all the parameters in mind, parameters such as your company's interest, your own personal interest, if you are heading a team, suppose a team of sales, right? You should keep the interest of your sales team as well, right? So this is how one's ability is judged, right? Of being a good decision maker or a bad decision maker, right? So this is the basic definition, and then right, this is the nature of decision making, right? We covered yesterday. Then decision making process. Okay, Sandeep, I hope everything is fine now. Then we have discussed the process. A process involves various steps, so we have discussed that. Yesterday, the types of decisions we have discussed yesterday, that is the program decision and non-program decision. Program decisions are much more organized, right? Where we will get the expected outcome after taking the decision. Non-program decisions are those decisions which we have to take where we don't know what the outcome might be, or we will be able to get to know the outcome after a certain period of time, right? So those type of decisions are called non-program decisions, which is right. So 80 to 90% of the decisions that the managers take today are non-programmed decisions, right? So these are some of the examples of a program decision. These are some of the program. I will give you one example of that restaurant, restaurant which we have discussed yesterday. That suppose if you went to a French restaurant, right, and you go there and you take up the menu and you see that all the menus, all the things on the menu card are written in French, but since you are not able to, but since you don't know French, right? So it will be difficult for you to order anything or try to understand or read what is exactly written in the menu, right? So this Scenario is an example of what? Everyone. I discussed it yesterday. This is an example of, let's see how many of you remembers. No one remembers? I gave you one example yesterday. No, McDonald's is fine. That I discussed one example related to one concept that suppose if you went to a restaurant, right, a French restaurant over there you find that in the menu card everything is written in the French language. But since you don't know the French language, your next step will be to call the waiter and ask him anything or ask him to provide you with an English menu card. So this is an example of a non-programmed decision. Yes, yes, right. Right. So there are various other examples as well, which you can go through them in the PPT. Right. So let's proceed. Then we discussed the three decision-making conditions yesterday as well. That is decision-making under certainty, decision-making under risk, and decision-making under uncertainty. Right. So let's quickly discuss it. Decision-making under certainty, it is a state of certainty exists when a decision maker knows with reasonable certainty what the alternatives are and what conditions are associated with each alternative, right? So this is generally a situation in which you are fully aware of the situation, right? And you exactly know that if I take this action, this will be the outcome. If I take that particular action, that will be the outcome. And then based on all the parameters or all the beneficiaries in mind, you take a certain decision. Very few organizational decisions, however, are made under these conditions, right? The complex and turbulent environment in which business exists really allows for such decisions, right? So this is a very less common scenario in working offices or in your organizations these days. Right. Next comes the decision making under risk. So a state of risk exists when a decision maker makes decision under a condition in which the availability of each alternative and its potential payoffs and costs are all associated with probability estimate. Right. Now here there is a risk involved of losing money, right? And decisions such as these are based on past experiences, relevant information, the advice of others, and one's own judgment. Decision is calculated on the basis of which alternative has the highest probability of working effectively. Right. So here we make guesses that okay, if I put my bet on this decision, there is a very high chance that I will get the desired outcome. So scenarios like these comes under it. Clear, everyone? Any doubts so far? Anyone has? Does anyone have any doubts so far? Okay. Next is decision making under uncertainty. So a state of uncertainty, as the name itself sounds, it is uncertain. Exists when a decision maker does not know all of the alternatives, the risk associated with each or the consequences each alternative is likely to have. Right. Most of the major decisions making in today's organization is done under these conditions, right? Where we are completely blind. right, of what the outcome will be or what the after effects of the decision that one has taken will be, right? To make effective decisions under these conditions, managers must secure as much relevant information as possible and approach the situation from a logical and rational view. Intuition, judgment, and experience always play major roles in the decision-making process under these conditions. Yeah? Can anyone of you give me an example of decision-making under uncertainty? Yesterday, I requested all of you to find one example of each: decision-making under uncertainty, and risk. Did anyone get the chance to find find the examples? Or if anyone would like to share an example? No one? Anyways, let's proceed. Right, so buying shares when the market is volatile comes under which, Sunil? Uncertainty. Okay. Okay, good. Buying a property comes under, suppose if you buy any property, it comes under which? Certainty, uncertainty, risk. Certainty, because it is a certainty, because see, in 90% of the cases the property prices go up, right? So all of us know that if we buy any property, there is a very high chance that the price of that property will definitely will increase with time, right? So that comes under certainty. Betting comes under risk. In betting, there is a risk of losing the money, right? Buying gold at risk, yes, very good. Right, so you can find many examples in your book or on Go. Just Google it, you will find a lot of stuff, right? So my just aim was to explain you the difference between the three. Anyways, let's proceed. Now, next thing is models, right? So the first decision-making model that we will be discussing, yes, forex trading is also a very good example. Forex trading is an example of certainty, uncertainty, or risk. Yes, good. Okay. Now let's start with the classical decision-making model. What does this model exactly tell? Let's first read the points which is written. It is an approach to decision making that tells the managers how they should make decisions, right? So we can say it is a more of a systematic approach which helps the managers to reach to a certain decision. It is an approach which assumes that managers are logical and rational, right? Now, with this model, we are assuming that managers are logical and rational, which they are since they have enough experience with them. Approach assumes that managers' decisions will be in the best interest of the organization, right? So, with the help of this model, we assume that whatever decision the managers will take, those decisions will be in the interest of the organization instead of in the interest of any individual. It will be in the interest of the whole organization. Okay, tell me one thing. Suppose all of you reaches to a certain position in your organization, right? And you have to make a certain decision, right? You know, there are two ways, there are two options or two alternatives. If we choose an alternative A, then it will be in the interest of the organization. But if you choose option B, it will be in your own interest. Which one is preferable, and which one would you choose? Okay, Sunil says A, Prabha says A, sir. Okay, everyone says A. Why? Don't you want to see your own success? If you do not put yourself at risk, okay, so that's accepted by everyone. Yes. See, the simple answer to this question is if the organization excels, right, if the organization benefits, their employees also benefits, right? So there is no need to keep your benefit in front, keeping your own reputation and position at risk. Because later on, if the management comes to know that you have taken the decision in your own personal interest, right, then it will be harmful both for harmful for you career wise, right? Because if the organization benefits, then they will definitely share the benefits among their employees as well. Risk is good when it is personal. Yes, correct, Prabha. Very good point. So let's see further what the classical model of decision making says. Okay, let's start from here. When faced with a decision situation, managers should obtain complete and perfect information, eliminate uncertainty, evaluate everything rationally and logically, and end up with a decision that best serves the interest of the organization, as I was saying, right? So the first step is a decision comes up with a situation where he has to make a certain decision, right? Next, they obtain so the duty of the manager is to first familiarize himself with the complete situation, right? So what he will do, he will try to take inputs from all the concerned departments or all the concerned parties, right? And so that he is fully aware of what exactly the situation is, right? And then he will try to eliminate the uncertainty, right? Once he gets himself familiarized with the situation, then multiple alternatives comes in his mind, right? Then his next step will be to eliminate the uncertain alternative, right? Then evaluate or calculate everything rationally and logically, right? Either in the terms of facts and figures, right? It will be beneficial for the organization. And then and then he will be in a better position to make a decision which will be in the interest of the organization. Clear? Any doubts so far? Anyone has? Any questions so far? Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, so there is one term which we have seen in the last PPT, that is rational decision making. What do we mean by the term rational? Like there's a term we have used for the manager, logical and rational. The managers should be rational and logical. What do we mean by rational? Rational decision making. Anyone? Taking help of quantitative and statistical numbers will be good for high-risk decisions, okay, without any pre-thinking as per the logic, okay, that's strong, okay, not taking decisions on the basis of assumptions, yes, yes, yes. See, rational decision making is a method for systematically selecting among the possible choices that is based on reasons and facts, right? So what happens in rational decision making is a manager will often employ a series of analytical steps to review the relevant facts, observations, and possible outcomes before choosing a particular course of action. I wrote it in the chat box. Kunal, I just wrote it in the chat box. Okay, let me write it on the whiteboard. Can you see? It is a method for it is a method for systematically selecting among the possible choices or alternatives that is based on reasons and facts. In a rational decision-making process, a business manager will often employ a series of analytical steps to review the relevant facts, observations, and possible outcomes before choosing a particular course of action. Clear? So if we summarize this rational model in steps, the 6 steps would be this. First, the manager defines the problem, then they identify the decision criteria, then they allocate weights to the criteria, right? Weight means giving priorities to the criteria. Which criteria will come in the first priority, which will come in the second, third, and so on. Then develop the alternatives, evaluate the alternatives, and then select the best alternatives. How many of you have a habit of reading any situation and then thinking this way, in a rational way, as a manager? Okay, good. Okay. Right. So, if you develop a habit that if you break down the situation in this way, then it will definitely help you in making a decision in a more systematic way. When it comes to decision making at workplace, I always make sure that I discuss with the senior staff so that it's not going to affect me in any way. Yes, that's the best way. Good point. It's always good to discuss with your seniors because they have more experience than you, and there is a very good chance that they have already gone through that situation, so they will be in a better position to guide you or to tell you how to deal with the situation or problem. Okay. So let's see, consists of the 6 steps that keep the decision making focused on facts and logic and help guard against the inappropriate assumptions and pitfalls. Right? So in rational decision making, there is no assumptions. Everything is based on facts and figures. Right? It is designed to help the manager approach a decision rationally and logically. Right, so let's go through each of these 6 steps. So the first is recognizing and defining the decision situation. Right. So we need to define precisely what the problem is or what the situation is. Manager must develop a complete understanding of the problem. Right. So he have to educate himself uh, with every aspect of the problem, right? For that, he needs certain resources, certain materials, right, or certain figures, which you need to get from the concerned persons or authorities or concerned bodies, right? A manager must carefully analyze and consider the situation. So this is the first step. Step 2, identifying the alternatives. Managers must realize that their alternatives may be limited by legal, moral, and ethical norms, authorities, constraints, available technology, economic considerations, and unofficial social norms. Right? Now, these are the obstacles or restrictions. That is what they are saying. Right? Managers must be aware that the solution or alternative they are thinking, right? They should also consider the legal aspect of it, moral aspect of it, ethical aspect of it, right? Technological aspect of it, economic aspect of it before taking the Prabha, what these people doing means. I don't know Prabha, what these people doing. Where is it written? I didn't get it. In this one, first slide. I already explained this. You need to define precisely what the problem is. Manager must develop a complete understanding of the problem. Manager must carefully analyze and consider the situation. Clear, Prabha? Or any doubts in these 3 points? Everyone clear? Shahir, Asya, Fahad, Kelvin, Sunil, Savita, Sanobar, Renen, Mohammed, Abdul Salam, Prabha, Sheikh, everyone. Sandeep, Rezi, Kunal, Ajit. Okay. This also we have discussed. Next one, very important. Are you believe in luck factor also important? Luck factor only comes into play, Prabha, once the manager has made the decision. Right now, suppose I will give you one very good scenario. Suppose if you are applying for a tender, right? If you are applying in a tender, right, to get some deal, right? So before before the time you deliver the tender, right? The manager has to follow all these 6 steps to make a logical tender, right? Once you send the tender where there are other players as well for bidding, over there your luck comes, right? There is a very big chance that you have won, that you or your organization have won the bid by a margin of 5%, 5% less quote. You have quoted 5% less for the service, or 2% less for the service, so the tender has gone to you. What do you think? Right, so luck plays over there. Luck only works for your marriage life, Abdul. Okay. Okay. So let's read. Each alternative must pass successfully through 3 stages before it may be worthy of consideration as a solution. Right. So here when the managers discuss any alternative, they check three things in that alternative. Number one, feasibility. What do you mean by feasibility? Very common term. Feasibility means possibility. What is the possibility? Right? Is it right? Is it financially possible? Is it legally possible? Are there limited human material or informational resources available before proceeding with that solution? Right. Next thing is satisfactory. Satisfactory means getting satisfaction. Does the alternative satisfy the conditions of the decision situation, like 50% increase in sales? Affordability. Can we afford that solution? How will this alternative affect other parts of the organization? As I told you, keeping the interest of everyone in mind. What financial and non-financial costs are associated? So these are the 3 most common parameters which a manager keeps in mind while evaluating that particular alternative. Right? Next point, the manager must put price tags on the consequences of each alternative. Consequences means the after effects of decisions. Even an alternative that is both feasible and satisfactory must be rejected if the consequences are too expensive for the total system. Right now, you came to know that that particular solution will be most feasible, but it is not within the organization's budget. Right? In that scenario, that alternative will be rejected, and the manager should come up with some new ideas or some new alternatives which should be within the organization's cost. Yeah, everyone? Any doubts so far? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, the fourth point. selecting an alternative. Now you have analyzed all the alternatives, right? Then you have to choose the best alternative. Choosing the best alternative is the real test of decision maker in decision making. Optimization is the goal because a decision is likely to affect several individual or departments. Finding multiple acceptable alternatives may be possible. Selecting one and rejecting the others may not be necessary. Fifth point, implementing the chosen alternative. Managers must consider people's resistance to change when implementing decisions. For some decisions, implementation is easy, for others very difficult or time consuming. Operational plans are very useful in implementing alternatives. Managers must also recognize that even when all of the alternatives and their consequences have been evaluated as precisely as possible, unanticipated consequences are still likely, right? So there is always a scope that some unexpected situation can occur, which might affect the whole decision making process, right? So managers should always have plan B and plan C if any such thing occurs, right, before implementing that decision. Okay, everyone? One second. Okay, I found the one case study on this rational decision making, which we will discuss shortly. Are you finding this topic interesting or boring? Okay, well, I will be discussing one case study shortly. Okay, let's go to the last step. Following up and evaluating the results, right? Now, once the decision is made, it is also very important to evaluate the after effects, whether that decision has worked in your favor or not, right? So the managers always do evaluations. Managers must evaluate the effectiveness of their decision. Did the chosen alternative serve its original purpose? The implemented alternative appears not to be working. The manager has several threats. Now, suppose if the alternative the manager has chosen does not work, then what? Number one, another precisely identified alternative might be adopted, which means that plan B should come into picture. Or recognize that the situation was not correctly defined and start the process all over again, right? Or decide that the alternative has not been given enough time to work or should be implemented in a different way. So these are the three choices a manager has. Right, so this is the flowchart. Is the alternative feasible? If yes, then we will check whether whether the alternative is satisfactory or not, or if it is no, we will eliminate that decision from consideration. It means we will not consider that solution or alternative. If it is satisfactory, then we will check its consequences. If it is not satisfactory, we will again eliminate it from consideration. Right? If the consequences are fine, we will retain for further consideration. If it is not, then we will eliminate it from consideration. So this is the approach that a good decision maker should follow or follows. Let's see. Sum that 60%. Right. Let's discuss one case study. Okay, let me just a second. Let me upload. So till now, does anyone have any doubts? Any doubts? Any questions so far? Anyone has? Okay. Again, so Niti is coming with the file. Okay, let me paste this here. Okay, read this thing. Read the first two paragraphs. Let me. Can all of you see the case study I have typed in on the whiteboard? Okay. So let's read it together. And here, so this case is of soccer betting in Hong Kong, right? I hope all of you know what a betting is. Right. There has been a lot of debate and controversy surrounding the issue of legalization of betting in Hong Kong. Betting means satta. In Hindi we call it satta, right? Where we put some money, assuming that some team is winning or some team is losing, right? Okay. Yes. So there has been a lot of debate and controversy surrounding the issue of legalization. Yes, betting leads to match fixing or legalization of soccer betting in Hong Kong since the gambling review by the Home Affairs Bureau in June 2001. Despite opposition from educational and religious groups as well as some political parties, legislation to regulate soccer betting was enacted in July 2013, right? So they are trying to say that even after the opposition, right, from educational and religious groups in Hong Kong, the government over there made betting legalized in 2003, and the Hong Kong Royal Jockey Club has been granted the license to operate soccer betting, right? So this club was given the license to organize betting, right? This brief case study will examine the issue of soccer betting and critically evaluate whether the government's policy making in this matter has represented a rational policy process with reference to the considerations for and against soccer betting and the views and interests expressed by the various stakeholders. Clear? The background of the case study is clear to everyone? Okay, now let's see what the exact case study is. Okay. Jenkins in 1978 states that public policy is a set of interrelated decisions taken by a political actor concerning the selection of goals and means of achieving them, which is held within the powers of the actors to achieve. It should be partly or wholly developed within the framework of government procedures, influences, and organizations. Models can be used as a simplification of reality to describe what is or attempt to restructure and improve upon reality as a normative prescription of what ought to be, as in the case of rational model, right? So Jenkins states that this is the basic soul while making a public policy, right? However, in reality, does the government's policy making follow a procedural and rational framework? In the policy selections, the legalization of soccer betting in Hong Kong will be used as a case study to discuss whether this policy has represented a rational decision-making process or not. With the help of this case study, we will try to come to a decision whether the government of Hong Kong has made has the decision which they have made of legalizing the betting is rational or not. Background of gambling policy in Hong Kong. First, let's see the background. Any doubts so far? Anyone has till now? Any questions so far or any doubts? Here are we following? Sarita? Okay. Home Affairs Bureau Gambling Review, a consultation paper. Okay. The long-established government policy is to restrict commercial gambling opportunities other than social gambling to a limited number of authorized outlets only. The rationale is that while limited gambling outlets may be allowed to meet public demand, they should be authorized and regulated so that gambling opportunities would not become excess as to be detrimental to the community. Based on this policy, there are 2 authorized gambling outlets. Right? So this was the policy. It was set up in 2001 under the gambling review. Now, based on this policy, 2 authorized gambling outlets in Hong Kong, generally horse racing betting run by the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the Mark 6 lottery by the Hong Kong Lotteries Board, were given the license for betting. We noticed that the rationale of the long established policy may have some influences on the decision-making process later on. The background of soccer betting in Hong Kong. After the Soccer World Cup in 1998, soccer betting became increasingly popular and widespread, both in terms of the number of people participating in it and the betting money involved. But there was no any legal gambling outlet for soccer betting in Hong Kong at that time, after the World Cup in 1998. Right? Consequently, local punters tended to place betting on cross-border illegal gambling outlets. Right? So, since 1998, this soccer betting came into existence, or it became more popular in Hong Kong. Right? Timeline of legislative council in soccer betting. For almost 3 decades prior to the late 1990s, legal sports betting in Hong Kong seemed to serve 2 major purposes very effectively. Government regulation provided a safe and reliable way for Hong Kong residents to wager primarily on local horse races, at the same time providing for a steady stream of both tax revenues and charitable funds for local social service agencies, schools and parks. In the late 1990s, however, the closed doors of Hong Kong gambling were forced open by introduction of new technologies such as TV, inexpensive cell phone service, and the advent of the internet. Illegal gambling, especially on international soccer matches, is boomed. Right now, once the TVs and the mobiles came into existence, this betting business increased. As a result, as a result, as a result, the Hong Kong Home Affairs Department was forced to consider how to control the new wave of illegal gambling, which had cost the government and local charities millions of dollars in potential lost income and was threatening to provide a steady income for organized crime. A comparison study was compiled by the Hong Kong Polytechnic University for the Home Affairs Bureau in 2001. On June 22, 2001, the Government of Hong Kong Special Administrative Region released a consultation paper to the public on its gambling policy. On 26 November 2002, the government announced its intention to authorize and regulate soccer betting as a means of tackling the problem of illegal social gambling in Hong Kong. Right? Based on this research paper, the government has decided to make it legal. The coalition handed in protest signatures and held a press conference. This was followed by a seminar on the consultation paper on 7th July. The consultation lasted for 3 months. So, are you getting the picture? What happened in the past, and right? Is it clear to everyone? This case study, or is everyone following? Okay. On December 13th, 2002, Mr. Tang Chi Hua gave a speech explaining how he believed allowing soccer betting would be good for Hong Kong. There are two main objectives of the policy change. Firstly, to tackle the problem of illegal gambling. Secondly, to stick with a proven record of success by asking Hong Kong Jockey Club to develop and operate an authorized soccer betting system in Hong Kong. So these are the two main reasons given by this Mr. Tang Chi Hua for making it legal. In April 2003, government introduced the gambling bill after amendment. On 9th July 2003, the second reading of gambling bill is in Legislative Council. 33 were in favor compared to 25 opposed. Right? So 33 people were in favor of betting, 25 were not in favor of betting in the Parliament. Finally, on the 10th of July 2003, in the third reading of gambling bill, 30 were in favor of introducing the bill versus 24 against it. So the law was enacted, was granted. One second. The law was enacted. Now let's see the conclusion. Let's see the conclusion. So till now I have explained you what all circumstances forced the government to implement the betting. So let's see its conclusion. After the comparison of the theoretical rational decision-making model with the practical government decision-making process, it can be understood that the legalization of soccer betting is a rational policy decision-making taken to significantly reduce the problem of illegal soccer betting, right? So we can say that it is a rational policy decision, right? According to our case study, the government's policy making in this matter has represented a rational policy process as it follows the 5 sequences of the rational making model. Number 1, so we have concluded that the government has followed all these 5 steps: identified the problems, goals and objectives, listed all the alternative means to the problems, estimated all the consequences of the means, compare all the alternatives, and technical rationality, and prescribes what sort of analyze, criticize and justify particular policies. The rational model speaks of economic and technical rationality and prescribes what sort of policy and analytical model the government should adopt. So this is what the case study is all about. So it means that the government of Hong Kong has completely followed all the procedures of rational decision making. So how many of you are in favor of what the government of Hong Kong did? Does all of you agree? The part says yes. Okay. Yes. See, their main intention was to reduce the crime, right? So what they did, they legalized betting on a test basis, and then they evaluate it, and then they keep, and then they monitored it. That's the best thing. They monitored it till to a certain extent, and then when they realized that there is no negative impact on the society, right? People are not leaving their jobs or education just for betting. That I don't know, Sunil. I don't know. I am not a policeman. Right. So it depends on like in India, it's not legal, right? It's legal in Mauritius, legal in Hong Kong, but it's not legal in India, right? So it's difficult. So people do it, but they do it in a hidden way. That I need to check, Kunal. I don't know. Indian government have many ways to see. India is a big country, right? See, betting is only legalized in countries which are small, right? India is a very big country with lots of people, right? So people can pay their income taxes, right? Where people can't pay income taxes, then the government legalize the betting for getting revenue out of it by imposing some kind of taxes on those betting. Getting the point? So that is all for today. If anyone has any questions, you can ask or we can wind up the class, and please fill the feedback form at the end of the class, everyone. It is not easy to take a decision, so you can continue. Okay, so thank you very much for attending my class today. See you tomorrow. Good night. Take care, all of you. Bye-bye.